Did you get that one, Paul?
Yep.
Hi, John.
Hey, Charlene.
I clicked the record button too, so I didn't forget that this time around.
All right. Well, welcome. February 25th, 2021. Got a good little user group here tonight. So Paul's got an exciting little bit to share with us on the bioenergetic programs.
Let's not set it
We
up.
kind of thought we'd have a look. What's that?
I said, let's not set it up too much. We'll go over the,
He's going to do the moonwalk
yeah,
while he's presenting. It's
exactly.
pretty good.
Let's not do that. The Healy hasn't got me there yet.
But I thought it might be kind of fun. I'm going to do a group thing with us on the thing here to start us off. Where while he's giving the presentation, I'm going to do a quick demo, and I'm going to start sending vibes to us, the bioenergetic vibes while we're going through. So I'm going to show us. I'm going to jump in here, and I'm going to share my screen. Well, first of all, before I share the screen, I'm going to take a picture. Let me go through here and I'm going to get that. So let's get out of here. And then I'll catch you guys up on this. I am going to add a new client and then I'm going to go share screen. We got a group. Take a picture, take a photo. And here we go. I got a photo. Everybody smile. Get there. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Bam. All right. Now I'm going to share my screen. Get this here, share, boom. Okay, so there we are. Everybody smiling in there. We got a picture. I've added this as a group. And you can do this with your family. You could do it with your business. You can add a group as opposed to just an individual. I'm going to hold the Healy, and I'm going to record the group vibration. So everybody start vibrating. I've just captured the group and we're going to get the name here. Healy user group 22521. And we got, this is our data foundation, place, Zoom. And that's good enough. Saving the client, running an analysis. I mean, look how fast that is to set us up as a group. So I come back in here, I hit the analysis button, and it gives us the question, what do we have the greatest resonance for? We're gonna watch Paul with his moonwalk presentation on bioenergetics too, so we're all gonna be resonating. Paul, we had a cut, can you put in the Michael Jackson, Billie Jean music right now?
Yeah, I'll see what I can do there for everyone. I don't think anyone wants to see that though.
Okay, so this is a group decision. I want you get to hear it. So am I doing one or two, Paul?
Let's just throw one. I'm gonna go over both of them tonight, so let's just do one.
Okay, so I'm gonna do bioenergetics 1 for the group, and I'm gonna put my finger down here. And again, you can just see how fast this is, you know, what you can do with here. And I know some of the other folks on this group here have been vibrating down to a ranch down in Texas to keep it warm during this, you know, cold blast that they had down there to keep the cattle warm. Just a lot of creative ways that you could do this. We have another friend who is growing plants with their kids for a project. Is it a 4-H project, Paul, or I can't remember what it was.
It's a science fair project, and I wish I could find those photos. It's just, it's really crazy at the differences between the one getting frequencies and the one not. It's really exciting to see.
So you can probably see we have more of a female influence over here than us, Paul, because we've got nerves, menstruation local, intestines, eyes, and immune system. So I'll choose this for a vibrate. And I'm going to give us, put it on for, what the heck, I'm going to put it on for 26 minutes while it's going here.
Yeah.
and it's vibrating now. So you're all receiving some frequency love. And I'm going to stop sharing here in this moment because that's how fast it is to go through. So if you've got like a grandchild in a different state or a friend, I mean, you look how fast it is to get it set up and start vibrating some positive energy to somebody. It's just, it goes that fast. And if you need any help, ask the person who invited you here, ask them for some help to help you, because part of the whole benefit of this is just being able to kind of share the love outward with people. So I'm releasing the screen to you. So like here, when you go down to Florida, you can send us some love back up here. Warm us up. Oh, I got somebody else in the room.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
I got him.
Got him?
Hello, Jane, welcome. We're now going to move into the a presentation part, and we're sending some frequencies out to everybody.
So I'm gonna go ahead and pull up my screen. What I did was just outlined kind of what we're gonna go over tonight, and it's just on a really rude PowerPoint.
We get the frequencies that he was just saying that they're sending out. Oh,
Let me go ahead and share here.
no. There's-
Can everyone see that okay?
Yeah, looks good, Paul.
All right, perfect. So what we had talked about discussing tonight was the one program. There's two programs within the bioenergetic balance, and sorry, my spelling. If you see a typo, don't point it out to me. You're just gonna make me feel bad. I didn't get a chance to go over it real good. But I'm going to go over both programs within the bioenergetic platform of Healy tonight. And John's running Bioenergetic Balance 1 on the group right now, as he just showed you. So it's just a real high level overview. And if there's any questions along the way, or anyone wants to share maybe one of their experience with one of the programs, don't hesitate to just cut me off and share it. You know, that's what this is for, to just inform other people of what it does. And some of my personal experiences within these programs I've put in here too. I'll share one really close experience that I had with my daughter when we get further along in the presentation. But it was the time that I was completely blown away with what the Healy could do with remote frequencies. So I'll share that, but we'll just jump right into it, and feel free to ask questions along the way. So basically what bioenergetic balance is, it consists of two different program platforms, each one having 12 programs within each of those platforms. So there's 24 very unique programs that come with it. And basically what bioenergetic is, it's really acting as a small first aid kit for different functions and body parts within our physical body and bioenergetic field. So to kind of give you an idea of what the first one that John just run, these are some of the programs within that platform, with immune system, cold, allergies, eyes, hormones, intestines, nerves, flexibility, the circulatory system, potency, menopause.
Oh, I want the allergy for the, is that, which one is it? What's it called?
For the allergies?
That's all he said, I think.
That one I
Different
have to
programs.
definitely run that one when I get it to do.
I will mute Paul, and then if somebody's got a question, just unmute yourself. Because maybe they're not sure what's going on in the background there.
I'm who's on mute? What's going on?
I muted the folks because I think that was just something going on in the background.
gotcha.
So you can go back on.
Okay,
I think
I
that's
was waiting for a question. I thought someone may have one.
I'm watching. Somebody has a question, just unmute yourselves and go ahead and ask a question.
Yep.
I just muted everybody out so
Okay.
we know who really wants to ask a question.
Fair enough. And then we go into the second program just to pick up gastrointestinal bacteria, tonsils, liver function, food sensitivities, toxins, head, prostate, lung function, thyroid, joints and bones, and the sciatica. A couple of these programs within these, you can see that there's local behind them. So those are local programs that wouldn't be run from the wrist. You'd put them on certain areas of the body where you're having those issues, and they're typically shorter programs as well. So just to kind of jump in, I'll start with the Bioenergetic Balance 1 and give you an idea of what each program does. So the immune system, which is 60 minutes long. I'm going to get joined by my daughter here now, I think. Yep. Basically what the immune system does, it helps activates the body's natural defense system. Works extremely well with when a cold or virus is detected, kind of your first signs. That's when I use it. And it's helped me recover faster and just gives me a boost when you're kind of feeling down as well. It worked very well in that type of situation. And then we have cold, and I like to use cold in conjunction with the immune system as well. Basically, it's the calming of the body mucous membranes. So, of course, when we all have colds, we all get the runny nose, the snot, and all the gross stuff that comes along with the cold. I've personally used this in conjunction with the above, and it does really good things for me as well. It seems to really shorten the length of a cold or not make it. It doesn't make it as severe typically. So allergies, it helped balancing of the allergens or allergic reactions in the body due to numerous things. I've used it from, being outside in the fall, just nature, food, just natural intolerances that you don't experience on a daily basis. Seasonal allergies, it works really good, but it also works well for me with food intolerances. And maybe I can't explain why, but there's probably some crossover with some frequencies that are in other ones that it tends to work. The eyes are what I was talking about earlier. I have a special connection to the eyes. If you can look over to the the left hand of the slide, my daughter about a year ago, a little less than a year ago, went in. She has really bad myopia in one of her eyes, and she had some drifting, so she had eye surgery. And that picture on the top was taken, I think it was about 3 or 4 days after her eye surgery to correct her drifting. And she was having, as you can see, some swelling on the top and bottom of the eye. And you really can't tell from the picture, but she also had a lot of redness there in the eye. So I used this program. This was pretty soon after I received the Healy. And I was like, well, I'm going to give it a whirl. I didn't put the wristbands on her. All we did was we ran frequencies remotely through the Resonance app. And actually the before and after pictures were very close to each other. They were probably 20 minutes apart, but you can see the difference in her eye, her right eye there, after one session of 5 minutes only on the eye. So it was really telling to me that, my jaw dropped and I said, oh man, this thing really does something special at that moment. And then moving in, it has a program for hormones, and basically what you're doing there is you're just supporting the body's natural release of hormones, just to keep everything on target and moving correctly. Intestine is one that I use often, along with some of the other gastrointestinal ones that I'll cover later. It's basically to support the body's involuntary movements that it makes to assist with the flow of food through the digestive tract. It works really well if if you get backed up or something like that. It does work really well. Nerves is another one too that I have quite a bit of experience with. As some of you know my story from before, I don't tell it every week, but I had a lot of muscle issues before, a lot of nerve issues, from a lot of the medications I was taking in prior years. And nerves has been a really good one for me, that's helped me just regulate my nervous system. And it just promoted not only my nerves, but also my muscles for just relaxation. And it also helps the nerves carry information through our body. So I mean, that's one of the main functions. If that's not flowing right and we have blockages there, there's bound to be a lot more issues within our body. And then flexibility is something I always work on. I am terribly just not flexible at all. And I've been using this one for probably a few weeks now, and I utilize it in the morning and I do some stretching exercises with it, and it really does seem to help and open up my body a little bit more. It's just for, support and mobilization of joints, tendons, ligaments. I just like it in the morning because I still wake up stiff, and it's a really good program to kind of loosen that body up and get it ready for the day. It just gives everything a little bit more flexibility. Then we have our circulatory system as well. Stimulates the body's energy supply. I mean, this is one of our main functions of our body, and it really promotes the movement of blood and the nutrients to move through our body, to give us what we need to be well and good. And then potency as well. Yep.
I got a question for you, Paul. So
Sure
as
thing.
you're going through this, what's really kind of striking me is you even have a better knowledge and awareness of these programs than I do. And so I'm kind of curious about that. As was your discovery method on this? Did you kind of like go through the Healy, look at them and kind of connect it and then try that program? Or did you use the resonance or a combination of both, and to actually then say like, okay, I'm going to go try the circulatory system, or I'm going to try the flexibility one because I'm stiff in the morning? Can you maybe say a little bit about that?
Yeah, and I mean, most of what I do is I typically use the Analyze app, and for more of the main programs that I run. Now I'll use a lot of intuition, just like, hey, I feel this way. I think I may need to run this. And I think sometimes that's just as good, your intuition. You know what you need, your body better than anyone else knows your body. And we have to listen to that. And that's what I've learned over the course of my life is really we have to hone into what our body's telling us, and maybe not understand it, but do something that our heart and mind are telling us to do. So a lot of those programs I run are just based on intuition, and what I've been through. I get a pinched nerve in my neck. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to run the nerves, and I'm going to run something to loosen up all that fibrous material in there, so I can function again and turn my neck. So it's just things like that. I mean, if it's something where I'm not sure one day what I'm feeling, or I don't have a good intuition on that, I'll run the Analyze app and go from there and just trust what the Healy says.
Okay. All right. Oh, thanks. That helps.
Yep.
Yep. So I guess that kind of sets you up for this one. What's your experience with that one?
Yeah. So I got a lot of experience with this. It might mean a lot, none at all. So I can tell you that my wife does use the local program, and I've heard many stories about women using that program and it helping just an immense deal. I know, from my understanding, some women are worse than others when they get it, and it does help relax that area. So I think, I mean, if someone wants to speak to it that's in this call that have used it, please do so. I'd like some insight on that so we can all share later as well. But if not, I'll move on. So some of the other ones that I gastrointestinal, and again, going into my past, with a lot of the medication that I was on years ago, I had a lot of gastrointestinal issues. I had a lot of stomach issues, and that really wore me into being very insensitive to, or very intolerant, I should say, of gluten. And this is one from time to time I get a craving, and and I say, okay, how bad can it really be? So I'll eat some gluten because I want to have a taste of what I used to eat sometimes. And this has been a go-to program for me, is the gastrointestinal, because when I do eat that, what it's done for me, just to kind of give you a view on where I used to be after eating gluten. So if I ate gluten, 3 years ago, I would have been down and out probably for 4 to 5 days where I had really bad cramps. It almost felt like a burning in my gut. So I still get that, not to the point I did before, but when I do eat gluten now, for one, I notice I can eat more than, I'm just going to use a cheese curd, for instance. I can eat more than one. It won't affect me. I can eat a serving, and I'll feel it a little bit the next day. But if I run this that night, I'll actually have no effects of the gluten, which is amazing. Now I don't go out and intentionally eat gluten anymore because of just my thought process on it now, and the way I think about it. But this has been a big one for me, since I've started having some of those issues from years ago. This has been a lifesaver for me. So 60 minutes is nothing. And I'll even vibrate. I'll vibrate that into my field when I start getting crampy or something like that. I don't necessarily even need to run the program on it. So, and then we have bacteria, which is our 60-minute program. And as you can see, if you're following along, a lot of these are between 40 and 60-minute programs. So not terribly long. Some are a little bit longer. I think they get into the 70-minute, 75-minute range. But the bacteria help strengthen the defense system by working with the good bacteria as well as helping defend against the bad bacteria in our body, because we need a balance between it. When we take an antibiotic, I mean, let's face it, it kills both our good and bad bacteria in the body. We need to replace that good bacteria as well. And this helps us maintain our good bacteria while helping rid our bodies of the bad bacteria. It gives us support in that instance. Tonsils is a good one, and I have some history with this with gut issues as well. It helps balance the immune system, and when I say gut issues, you'll understand why when I say that in a little bit. But helps balance the immune system in case of infection. A lot of times when we have an infection somewhere, it shows up in our tonsils first, and I've learned that through many different doctors that I've seen over the course of the past 4 years. Or if we have a sore throat, it's actually quite possibly maybe not even connected to the throat. It's connected to, a lot of times it's the gut. It's the bacteria in our gut, and it manifests in our throat later on. So it just works really well in my experience. When I have those digestive issues, I typically get a sore throat very quickly after. And it's one of the first signs I feel in my body that, oops, I ate something wrong, and I need to run this, and this is good. A very good program for that as well. And then liver function, just under an hour. It basically helps promote our liver metabolism as well as the processing of foods and toxins that are easily caught in our system within our liver. And it assists with the passing through and eventually expediting it out of our system. So.
I was also made aware from Ane was sharing it with me on the tonsils. She said the tonsils are very good for detoxing the brain, which I didn't know.
Oh, really?
Ane, you want to say anything else on that? I mean, what about if you've had your tonsils taken out?
You're in trouble. You're in trouble if you've had them taken out. They actually they help to detox the midbrain, which is extremely difficult to get the toxins out of the brain. And what happens when you take the tonsils out, then you are very, very prone to gum disease because the gums take up the slack from the tonsils.
Interesting.
Wow, thanks.
I did not know that. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And then moving on to some of the programs further down the line, food sensitivities, as well as, if you can understand what I've been talking about before, this is another program I'm very familiar with within the Healy. In fact, the bioenergetic platforms and 2 different programs are actually Healy's most used and best selling platforms. They're also, I think they're the most expensive too as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, they are.
So, but they're very widely used. It's one of the, and it may be because they are expensive why people pick those up when they buy a gold unit, they get a free program. I always tell people, hey, pick up one of these because they're so great and they cost so much money that it's worth it for them to pick it up, because we all deal with this stuff, right? We all have those sensitivities and could use a little balancing within our bioenergetic field. So but food sensitivities is a really strong one for me. It just helps the body recover and repair from the intolerance and disturbances we all experience at some point in time. I've noticed with this one, along with some of the other gastrointestinal stuff, that it really cuts my recovery time down when I use this. If I do eat gluten or maybe let's say too much dairy or something like that, it works really well in that instance. So someone with sensitivities and they say, hey, I'd like to try that out, definitely run this one on them because it works really, really well.
Can I add
Yeah,
a little bit here? Food sensitivities are a big, huge problem with the pain in your body and joints. 80% of the pain in our joints that is constant and acute are food allergen related.
Yep, absolutely. And to that point alone, and I mean that is 100% truth, because I mean I can testify when I eat gluten, my joints 2 days after I eat it, my joints hurt for a week. And
I can eat a piece of bread in my left hip,
Yep.
thinks it's going to come out of the joint.
Yep, no.
Otherwise, I never have any pain.
But you know, a lot of people who aren't in tune or new to that, they don't understand that you know that can be related. So I mean, this is just another thing that what we're doing here brings value to other people to see that, say, hey, you know, I have that now. It maybe makes sense a little bit to why that hurts after I eat certain foods. It's really powerful what we put in our body and how that makes such a difference in the way we feel.
Well,
Absolutely.
you could run the food sensitivity and find out the pain goes away and you don't know why.
Right. And then you
Yep.
keep going through. Like I was telling a friend of mine, and I share this with everybody else. He's had his Healy for about a month, and he has not had any benefit. He keeps going like, and I finally decided to figure out what he eats. Well, he has Captain Crunch and Lucky Charms. He's 55, and he's explaining that he's got gastrointestinal issues. He's got GERD. His stomach acid is all messed up. And I finally went to him and I said, you know, friend, you know, that's like saying you've got a pain in your thumb and you want the pain program to reduce it, but you got a hammer and you keep smacking your thumb. I said, you got to get rid of the hammer first. Then the program will help you. I said, you just can't keep doing that, smacking your thumb. So you're right. So you get rid of the food sensitivities on this one here, and you gotta go like, okay, what am I eating? But that helps get rid of it. So maybe that helps open up the space where you can think.
Absolutely. And then again, toxins is what it is. I mean, it helps remove toxins and toxic debris from the body and our energetic field as well. Head, I've struggled with this program in the past, and not from a bad point of view. It's just not really understanding where to use it. So I've tried on different people, different things. So say, hey, run this so I can understand it better. You know, it's support for the tension and imbalances within our head area. So when I started playing around with it a little bit, if I sit in front of a computer, I'll get tension headaches that wrap all the way up, right? And I was like, you know, I'm going to give this a whirl because I've ran the pain programs for it. And it helps, but not to the point where it's like, oh, that's gone. I ran the head one day and I was like, there it is. I knew exactly, you know, at that point, what that program did for me. So I was frustrated that I didn't really know what it was before, but once I had one of those and ran it, it really helped me relieve that tension in my, you know, my bottom part of my head into my neck area. That's just how it works for me. Someone may have a different experience with it than me, but that's a program that worked really well for me in that instance. And then prostate helped to support a healthy prostate. So lung function as well. I'll be honest, I haven't used this program very much. I may have, there's so many programs within this resonance package that we have that I haven't used anything on a daily basis. But what it does is optimizing of your lung function. I've used it on a chest cold one time, and it seemed to help my breathing. But other than that, I really haven't used it all that much. Probably one or two times I've used it, and it seems to help.
Hey,
And then-
Paul, one thing I'll
Yeah, go
jump
ahead.
in on there, I'm just gonna go back to the prostate one, but I think it applies to all of them. So some of the folks here know, but some don't know, is I got the time waiver machine, which is I call it the mothership, the one that gave birth to little Healy, the one that's been on the market for about 15 plus years. And I did an analysis set on me today, and I was picking some out, and I ran the prostate one, and it was interesting. When I went through to run the analysis on it, I think there were probably upwards of, I think it was like, I don't know, 50 plus individual little programs for prostate. And then when it selected a small subset for me, right? But it had a bushel basket of different frequencies depending on, I was kind of amazed at, all the different programs. So in each one of these areas, it's not just one or two or three, individual frequencies to go hit lung or to go hit thyroid. They may have a bushel basket of them, and I think it's not just dealing with the physical, it's dealing with the emotional, it's dealing with the spiritual, it's dealing with the thought process, because there's a lot of connection and the chi level with those of different things that actually can affect an organ like that. So I'm just kind of, when you see this here and somebody runs it, one guy's prostate isn't the same as another one, or one woman's cycle isn't the same. It's got a bushel basket of individual frequencies that they have tested over time across hundreds or thousands of patients, that they've developed this knowledge, that they have the ability, what Healy has the ability to deploy is, it's got a database that I know what I use for here, but now when I've just analyzed Paul or Mary or Renee or Pat or Karen's field or Jane's field, I can start to create a sync and figure out which are the best ones. So I just kind of wanted to bring that up because I was like amazed at how many were in there. As I start to, feel into the guts of the program now with this time waiver machine that lets me just peer behind the curtain, like Wizard of Oz, I get to see the man behind the curtain pulling the strings.
Yeah, and I think John, I mean, thanks for that. And I think maybe we don't touch on it enough too. And that's really one of the awesome capabilities of what the Healy has is its ability to understand what we need at any given time, right? So, as John was pointing out, I mean, he can see those programs now with having the mothership, but we don't get to see that with the Healy, right? So within, take thyroid for instance. Within that program, there's so many frequencies, but our body doesn't need every frequency because each body's different. So some bodies may need one, some bodies may need a different frequency within that. But what the Healy does and what its ability, because of the quantum sensor inside it, is it can read our energetic feedback from that and provide us the frequencies that that we need at any given time. So that's just one thing I always like to reiterate, and we probably don't do enough of it very often. John, I see did you admit? I think someone's looking to come on. It's on my screen anyways here. Oh, I think you got it. And then I think these are probably the last two within the bioenergetic 1 and 2 programs. Joints and bones helps with the excretion of metabolites to help heal damage from injuries and stresses. Excuse me. And it assists in the important bone cells and cartilage related to the arthritic process. What was that?
Sorry, I was just going to have you go back to the lung program, and that you don't have to go back to the slide, but I wanted to share.
Absolutely.
So I had COVID back in November, and I ran that lung program through the whole time I had COVID. And I have to say, I firmly believe that that kept me from having very severe symptoms. I did not have it was like a cold. It just really was not. And I ran some other programs too, but I was amazed that I didn't have really any difficulty through the COVID. And it lasted for about a week, but then the lung stuff continued on a little bit after. Like, I'd go out to take the garbage out and I'd be a little winded. I just ran the Healy and I could breathe just fine. And then my significant other was having heart troubles, although at the time we didn't know he was having heart troubles. We weren't sure what the problem was, but he was having trouble where he was having difficulty breathing, and it was worse when he laid down. And I said, let's just run the Healy on you. And he was able to, every time we ran it, he was able to breathe better and sleep then and lay flat and not have to sit up. So the lung function has been used quite a bit on our side, and it's very effective. I'm just saying.
That's awesome. Great. I love to hear stories like that. I think it's just excellent. I mean, there's so much it can do, and each story helps, and each story can relate to another person that going through the same thing. And I think, that's how we get this into the hands of so many people and help so many people around the world is stories like that. I think that's just awesome.
Yeah. Thanks, Mary.
And then the last one's another local program as well, the Sciatica. I've used this on numerous occasions as well. I think this does wonders for me. I mean, I think I have a small bulge, like an L5S1 bulge in my lower back, and it does go down my legs sometimes. I run this program, and it really doesn't bother me that much. I mean, stretching does more for me than anything, but if I do get a flare up to say where it's bad, I'll put this on for 20 minutes, and I typically only have to run it once, and I'm feeling pretty darn good after that. So that is about it through the bioenergetic balance programs. I will pop out of here. I think I just did.
Yep.
There we go. There we go.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm still confused or uncertain because I haven't really done it, but John, I think you and Paul might have both mentioned it, but on this stuff that you were doing now, do you need to put the bands or the stickies on, or do you just run it without it? You just hold the machine, the little box.
So with what I was discussing within the programs of Bioenergetic Balance 1 and 2, that ran anywhere from 45 minutes to 60, those are all microcurrent programs. So you'd be putting either on the local programs, you'd be putting it where your body needs it, or on all the rest of the programs, I believe they're all on the wrist. Now you can also do that like John's doing with us. He's using the resonance to provide those frequencies remotely to us where they don't need to be on our physical body. They're basically just hitting our energy field and putting those frequencies in our energy field. So there's two different ways to do it depending on what model you have.
Oh,
Let me
okay.
add a piece here, though, to that Morning Star that it took me a while to learn. So when you're hooked up to it like this on the Pink app, so I'm just going to bring it up here on my phone, and I'll just, I'm going to share the screen again so you can see it, because I've now opened up the Pink app. And here we go. So here I am on the Pink app, and Paul just went through this. So let's say I had the gastrointestinal. It tells me, okay, there's 60 minutes. I push it in there, start. Okay, it's now transferring the program to the Healy. Okay, and so I'm going to get to your question as it goes through here, but you can kind of see my lights are kind of like lighting up. That lets you know that it's being transferred to the Healy. And so it's bringing all those frequencies here to the Healy so that it can deliver it. Now, You're absolutely right. It showed us to hook it up to your wrist, and it showed us to hook it up with the wires. Or you could also use the adhesive sticky pads and put them to your wrist. Okay. What you're also getting when this occurs, is because this device is within 2 to 3 feet with you, it's vibrating into your field also. So you're getting it two ways. It's the preferred way to get it is to use you're not going to stop it, because it's going to be close to you in that 2 to 3 feet when it's here, like when it's hooked up on you. But it's, I'm going to see if I can get myself to get that white. My wrist bands might not be there, but that you're also getting it. Like I have a client or two that even at this moment, when they're first starting to receive the frequencies, it's still too powerful for them. So they decided not to do it. They took the wires off and they do it just like this. And they just have it vibrate like that. So you can do it like that. And maybe you don't want to have the wires, but you are getting the treatment that way. You're actually getting it two ways on the pink dot, but this way does not vibrate it out to all you people, right? So in this way here, it's only within 2 to 3 feet. So it's not like the blue app, which pushes it out there.
So that's kind of the difference between the blue and the pink.
That's one of the differences.
Okay.
Another difference of it, and I don't have the exact part, I'm looking for that, but when they talk about the quantum field and they talk about the dimensions of our body, and I forgot who the scientist is who talked about it, but he talked about it, it's either 10 or 12 levels, starting from the very physical level, going up to 12 levels that we are. And they talk about, so the way that I kind of understand it right now, and this could shift if I get some more knowledge on it, but when we're at the physical level, that's down at the 1, 2, 3 level, time, space, that kind of space. But then when you start getting into above that, that's where the resonance or the blue dot app is touching. And I think that's like in 4, 5, and 6. And that's pushing, and they call that the information field. So it's adjusting us in the information field. This doesn't reach the information field when it's pink, but it might be hitting that level 4. And it's physical within us vibrating it.
Oh, that's interesting.
We are the result, the physical body is the result of that information field, not the other way around.
Okay, thanks, Anae. Yeah. Next.
Well, there was one other one. I saw too that sometimes they putting the wrist tabs, the monitor thing or whatever you call it, on the top of the wrist and not underneath the wrist. Does it matter if whether it's on top or on the bottom of the wrist?
No, because go ahead. Sorry, Paul, go ahead.
No, I mean, it's a simple answer. No, it doesn't matter. Some people just have a preference whether they like it. I personally like them on the top of the wrist because it's a little less interference. Honestly, sometimes on certain programs, especially like the muscle programs or the relaxation programs, I've had muscle issues in my back for a long time. So I actually use the sticky pads on my shoulder blades or my mid back, and I'll run those programs from there and not even on my wrist.
Yeah.
So it's something you can do is play around with it and really what works for you. I think everyone's just a little bit different, and there's not really, that's what's great about Healy. There's not really a set way to use it. It works in so many different fashions that you really have to find what works well for you. And some people, like John was saying, it doesn't work to be connected all the time, and they're just very sensitive to the frequencies, and to have run that pink dot without those, yes, that is still going to benefit you a great deal.
Oh, thank you.
So I'm going to pause it here for a second because I'm going to try and experiment with you all. If you all see this, I just kind of tried to wet my wristbands, and I'm still at 100%, and I can't get a white dot, right? And so if anybody's had that experience before, I can see.
Does everyone know what the white and black mean on the Healy app? Does
Well,
that,
there's been varying opinions about that.
Go ahead, you explain, Paul. I'm gonna go get a glass of water because I bet you I can make that go away.
yeah, that's fine. You could probably, so yeah, there are some varying opinions on that. And from my understanding and what I've been told through different people is that when it's black, you're not making a full connection through your body. Now this, most of the time it's due to dehydration a lot of the times. Other times, well, a lot, there's ways to test it too. I mean, you can pull off your cords basically and put them on either end of a metal object, and if it turns white, you know it's your body, you know you're probably dehydrated. But when that circle is white, it does mean it's making connection through your body as well. Another instance, when it turns black, you'll see that sometimes the frequency that you're getting initially, let's take for instance what's on the screen, 685, is black, and then it pops white, and then all of a sudden it turns black and it pops white. It's working through some blockages within your body. Now, I had this happen a lot when I first started using the Healy, especially with some of the release programs within the gold cycle. I was black, white, and finally it started to turn more white until it finally was, I'm all white now. So I think it's a combination of both things there, is that either it's working through blockages in your body, or you're probably a little bit dehydrated and it's not making good contact through your body for a full
I'm
circle.
gonna try it right now. I'm gonna drink some water or some electrolytes here and see if we can get this thing to go white.
But are you still getting healing if it turns black?
Yeah, you're still getting it because of the where it's close to you. On this
Okay.
part, you're getting it through there, but you're not getting through the microcurrent. So I must be really dehydrated. I haven't drank a lot of water today.
Did you check your cords to make sure they're plugged in right down here?
Yeah, thanks. Exactly.
Can you
Check.
restart it? Yeah. No, I mean, it does happen. I mean, especially, for me, it's, morning after I have coffee or something, I have to intentionally drink a glass of water beforehand. Otherwise I do tend to be more black, but I put on my wristbands basically just an electrode gel, and I just line that on my wristbands, and I would be good to leave those on for probably 3-4 hours, and it would never turn black, unless it's an instance where the frequencies are working through a blockage within my body, and then it probably would for a short period of time, because sometimes it does when it changes frequencies. It'll go from black to white.
I had the experience the other day with a lady that I started with on a program. I don't recall now because I've done quite a few things since then, but we started on the program and she had intense back pain, and we went up to about 50, and then it turned black after a little bit, and then I took it up a little bit more, and I took it up a little bit more until we got to 100%. And then it dawned on me that it was probably too much. So I backed her down and it went white. And she hadn't changed anything as far as drinking water or changing her arms or anything like that. But I felt like that it was going through levels of not only the pain that she was in, but levels of her body, which were restricted, lots of restriction in her body. And so it was just opening up those levels, and it would hit, like a little, well, it's pulsing anyway, but like that little pulsing sensation. And I'd go up a little bit more. And it was first time I'd ever seen it that way. And I just kept going up until we were 100%, and then backed off. And then I backed down to 75, and it stayed white until it finished.
Yeah, I don't think that would surprise me that much hearing that. I mean, I think I went through some of the same things, and I agree 100% with you. I think we work through those levels in our body. Again, John always tells me it's like, it's like peeling the layers of an onion off. I mean, we have to work through that. The Healy, as good as it is, it's not a miracle device. You're not going to put it on and 50 minutes later you're going to be like, hey, I'm good to go. It's going to take time. It's going to take, to develop some of the issues that some people are dealing with, that we need to try and balance with the Healy. I mean, that takes a long time to do because it's not overnight that it happens typically.
This lady was completely sensitive because the pain in her back that she suggested she would like to have something happen about it reduced down 75%. Then she said, oh, I can feel it. And it was in the lower back. I can feel it in T3. Oh, now it's in my cervicals. Oop, it went in my head. And just a few minutes and I hit another button and she said, oh, it's down in my feet. And her feet were really severely painful and broken actually. And it was so fun because we just went from one place to the other and she could feel it all.
That's awesome.
How about somebody else? Anybody else like to share, ask a question?
Hey, John, I see you're white now.
Yeah, I had to drink 2 glasses of water. It's kind of amazing, huh? I didn't realize I was that
That
dehydrated.
works too.
Yeah.
Does anyone have anything else to share? Any questions or comments? Anything you'd like to hear or see next week?
Did you already go through the meridians?
No, we have not.
I'd like to see the meridians. Because some of those have the same organ, and I'd like to understand the difference between the bioenergetic versus the meridian.
Sure, we can.
And my understanding was that the the things that are listed in the meridians has more to do with the energy of that organ, whereas the other one is like actually more physical. Is that true?
That is my understanding. Oh, go ahead, John.
I was just gonna say, yeah, go ahead with your perspective, Paul, but then I was also gonna tag an A on that because she knows quite a bit.
I was going to her next. I was gonna get her feedback on it, see what her thoughts are.
The bioenergetic is the energy of it. And the meridians are the outline of more into Chinese medicine and the actual function of what is known as meridians as they connect through the entire nervous system. So it's more physical than the bioenergetic. Energetic is energetic.
Okay. Gotcha.
Good job.
So let me see.
Meridians are very Chinese or Oriental medicine.
Right. So the meridians then, so what you're saying then, Anae, so I want to see if I can have this. So the acupuncture, the meridians is actually hitting it at the nerve root and moving the chi through that body. So at that level, and then bioenergetic is moving it at an energetic level, which is
It's the energy. Bioenergetic is the energy of each one of the parts that there's being listed here. Like this is the gastrointestinal program. Each one of the organs and glands of your body is like a miniature universe of its own. It all has the same, it has a pulse, and all pulses are different. The liver has 3 pulses, for instance. So that all is measured by the energy of that particular organ. When you go to the meridians, then it's the nervous system talking to those organs.
And the meridians are basically, from what I understand,
to,
are just the paths. Am I correct that they travel through? I mean, that's the way I think of it?
well, it's the path that the nervous system actually passes through. For instance, for the kidney meridian, you have actually a muscle that goes, tucks underneath the, right at the hamstring, tucks underneath the hamstring all the way up the side of the spine that's connected through the spine, comes up and tucks into the top of the shoulder. And when that muscle's hurting, your kidneys are in trouble. But the meridian follows that same line because of the nerves going through that particular area.
Sure. Okay, that makes sense.
The meridian for the liver, for instance, comes out of the neck, head, goes down the side of the body and down the outside of the leg and twists around the knee and then to the foot. And to the foot, where in an acupuncture point or an acupressure point, reflexology goes right into the foot area of the reflexology chart.
Mhm.
So all of these are, and you can, it's real easy. I mean, just look for a meridian chart online, Google it. We like that Google thing. Tells us all things we need to know. Anyway, those charts are very parallel in how they look on the body and all, but they're inclusive then of how that nerve bundle, because the nervous system comes out of the spine by bundles, and those bundles speak to different organs, not your meridians. But it's nerve rather than the energy of the organ itself.
Thank you for that. I mean, I think everyone got a lot out of that. I know I did. I think in the near future, and I think we're going to need you to speak on a subject. You have a lot of knowledge in there, I can tell, and I think it's for me personally, I definitely I'd like to hear some of it. So I get into a lot of that. So
No, it's just 50 years of playing with this kind of stuff.
yes, that's
And I've been
what
doing
I have. So-
bioenergetics for, I've been doing bioenergetics since 1982. And I told somebody today when I was talking to him, I said, this little instrument is beyond anything I've touched. And I've probably invested over the years $60,000 worth of equipment of different sorts and kinds and so forth that does energy work. You run a wand over over the skin, you do all kinds of things, and TENS machines and so forth. I have not seen anything like this. I like it.
Yep, good.
I have a question, if I may. So I've been running the Healy every day. John and I have a friend. Her 3-year-old daughter recently was diagnosed with a mass behind her sinuses. So she's undergoing chemo. And so I've been running the Healy, of course, the resonance. Usually once or twice per day, just very short, but I'll do it on their family and on the little girl. And I started out by doing I did the analysis, and I did the materia medica and the Australian bush flowers on the family. And then on the little girl, I think I just did the all Healy. So I've been just running the same program now. It's been for, maybe a week and a half. Should I change it? How should I, or should I just keep running the same program?
That's a tough one. I mean, I can tell you what I do and what works for me. I think everyone's different. And when I scan myself and I run the Resonance app, I mean, I'll probably do between 3 to 6 resonance programs a day, just real quickly, under 2 minutes. We're talking.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. And when I scan myself, I will usually run them for at least 2 to 3 weeks before I will scan myself again.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah.
And that really depends if it's, some of why I do that is because there's some more chronic issues and there's some acute issues, and there's protocols for different ones. I think I have a sheet. Did I pull it up the other week? Let me see if I can. Let me see.
Yeah, I think you shared that one up, but you could bring that up.
see if I can find it here really quick. And we have probably only a couple minutes left, but we'll see if I can pull it up here real quick.
While you're doing that, may I say that
Please.
one of the things you'd want to do with a child like this in treatment is give her the energy to heal. In treatment, we have a very difficult time in healing because we're using all of our energy to bombard the toxemia of even the drugs. So I would use on a child, particularly in that kind of treatment, a very short resonance of energy, just the regular energy program in the gold.
Okay. So I've been doing
And
that.
maybe even twice a day, even
Yeah,
twice a
more
day.
I've
Say
been,
what?
I've been doing the all Healy for a minute, 20 seconds, like maybe once or twice a day.
If you give her the overall energy, then she can turn into the healing. My theory, and in the length of time that I've been playing with folks, is and I know this for a fact, the cell structure is like a drum beat. There's a diaphragm there, there's a membrane there that's just like a drum head, and it beats with healing or it beats with disease and dying. And so you want to turn up the life force in this child as best you can, but not interfere with the treatment.
Right.
So to detox the child, you would interfere with the treatment. For right now, you want to get as much healing cell structure, dancing the dance of life as you can,
Okay.
because it's all being attacked. So if we just embrace it, that's like holding that child and giving it a big hug, because that's as healing as anything. So if you can just get that, just get a little bit of added energy all through the, not, I would do it 2 to 3 times a day, but only for seconds.
Okay.
Just a little, plug her into the light switch, in other words, to give just a little bit of energy.
Okay.
So, and what I'm hearing then too, because the gold program, so this, Charlene, would be, you could actually run a resonance scan on her for just the gold program.
Okay.
Just vibrating it from here to there and then see what comes up the top 5 programs out of those 7. And hopefully, I guess part of it's going to be one of them is the energy program, but you probably also touch on to the care or the detox, that are in there. But then you got a chance to just do a 3-second or like that to give her a little touch of that to get her energetically going. Was that what you kind of,
Okay.
Nate?
Yeah, and even the being program. Remember that the being is I would probably switch off. I would do energy and I would do once a day a little tiny bit of that being program, because the being helps them connect to their higher self and their higher good. And that's what we want too. We want that resonance to be firm in that little body. And because it's being hit, if it's in any kind of chemotherapy, that's tough stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then I would do gastrointestinal too when she gets out of it, so that you can reestablish.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so I got her mom a Healy. So I don't know if she's started running it yet, but so I'll just keep doing what I'm doing with short bursts, and I guess she might be running stuff too, though. So
And
Well, one of the things I like to do with children and animals, if she has a Healy, is hold that child while it's running on her.
mhm.
Let her be an instrument of giving that and folding it into the child by
About that today.
holding her.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing better than the mama's breast, and that's going to go right through her heartbeat. And that's beautiful.
Uh-huh. So I think she's just starting to, downloading the app today, and, but it's very confusing. It's like, now what do I do from here? So.
Well,
right.
I would be happy to help you if you would like. So John
Okay,
can give you
I mean,
information.
I could have her contact you if that's okay.
Sure, I would be glad to help her.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Has she contacted you, John?
Not yet, no, but when she
Okay,
does, I can tie together the loose strings for her.
yeah, I told her, just FaceTime John anytime you have a chunk of talk. So she could be just pretty overwhelmed right now. We're just going back with a little bit of texting. And so, it might take a while.
Yep.
Excellent.
Well,
Thanks.
thanks, Charlene.
I
Thanks.
actually think we
Thanks,
went over
Renee.
tonight.
Huh?
I said, I think we went over tonight. Good conversation. I enjoyed all of it.
Yeah, I did too. Thank you, Mary, for contributing, and Ane and Morningstar, everybody here. So, before we leave, does anybody else have another question, or we'll wrap it up for tonight? And we always have a recording of this, so you can find it on there's a YouTube link on the email that Paul and I send out to our groups. And you can just look into that, click on that, and Paul uploads these. It takes some, short period of time, but we get each week out there now that we've got this as a rhythm. So, and you're willing to, this idea came from my mom, Pat Miser over there, said, hey, can you go over the programs for us? So we did that. Okay, let's go do that to help folks in this way. So anyways, I guess that's
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess that's it for this week. So we'll see you all next week, or wherever you get a chance. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you,
Thanks a
everybody.
lot.
Good night.
Thing I'll let you know. There.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, Karen.
Bye.
Enjoyed it.
Yep. Healy has a promo going on, a sale that ends on Tuesday. So if anybody is interested in acquiring a Healy, they've got a significant sale, and I just kind of have this as a sense. I want everybody to know this. You all who have a Healy bought and own your programs. There is no maintenance fee, there is no monthly subscription. But my sense is, as this company is moving forward, they're going to change it into a subscription-based model, which is actually going to be better for the company long-term instead of a direct sales. But those of us that bought our Healys and own it, we're grandfathered in. They're never going to change that. So I think it's very important, if anybody is considering that, you got two things. You can own the programs and you've got a sale price. And if somebody's still not sure, well, they can buy it and they've got 14 days to use it. And if they don't like it, they can return it back, and get all their money back. And Healy will even pay with a, free FedEx label. So it's a pretty nice deal. So yeah, there it is. Paul's got it up on the screen right now. Here's the sale. And so if you have a friend or anything that wants it, this is the time. I think it's probably the best thing going right now. So anyways, I just want to make sure if you got any friends.
Thank you.
let them know. All right, everybody. We'll see you
All right.
next week.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Bye.
Yeah, good night.
Night.
Bye.
Bye.